scene work is interesting because when we talk about scene work, all we really need is a character, or we need more than one character, but the character needs conflict. So we want to keep our characters in as much conflict as possible. And there's a film I always bring up to my students and I make them watch it over and over again because Little Miss Sunshine carries the torch of scene by scene of hitting conflict, shifting power dynamics, which is also another word for shifting status. I feel like that comes up more in TV shows and TV scripts, the shifts of status. And it's so powerful that when we see it in a movie, it's pretty cool. So when I'm rewriting a scene, I go over who has status in the scene, and then is there a way to play with it? So I'll do an example of a cop interrogating a suspect. So there's a cop, and he's interrogating a cop interrogating a suspect, and the cop has high status, and the suspect is in handcuffs. The suspect may even be crying, and the suspect has low status. So when you're watching a scene, think about power dynamics and think about status, because that's what actors are thinking about, and that's what writers are thinking about when they're writing, and actors are thinking about that when they're playing together. But we can shift that dynamic because so let's say in the same scene, the suspect has information that the cop wants. So then the cop realizes this, and maybe the suspect smiles, and the cop slams his fist on the table, and he's upset as the suspect is not giving him this information. And all of a sudden, the suspect has higher status, and the cop has lower status. The cop wants something from the suspect, needs something from the suspect, and the suspect isn't giving it up. So when you're watching films, keep an eye out on the status and power dynamics, and watch how the protagonist can go in and out of high status and low status in scenes. Like here's the example of Little Miss Sunshine, when we're introduced to Richard. Richard is talking about his life coaching, I forget what, it's like 5 principles for being the amazing man you are meant to be. And he's commanding the stage as he's, eyeing the crowd and going over his presentation. And then the camera turns around and it shows us how many people are in the audience. And there's like maybe 10. And he gets a tepid applause. So the director gave us a power dynamic shift. We thought we were seeing a very high status person almost talking to a stadium of people. And then we realize he's low status, and it's practically a conference room, and no one really cares what he's saying. It's a lot of fun, and that's when Richard goes back down to low status. Refuse to lose. That's what it is.
Right.
The 9 concepts.
And speaking of Little Miss Sunshine, of all characters in the film, who has the biggest sort of status shift?
Yeah, the character that has the most arc is Richard, the dad, because, and when we look at Little Miss Sunshine, Richard is the protagonist because he's the one that needs to take the journey and to learn. So when we get to Act 3, he has the showdown with himself to finally get out of this facade that he's creating as a, guy with a master plan and everyone needs to succeed. And he makes a fool of himself at the end with his daughter, which just is, that scene always really gives me chills when I watch it. But he's trying to get high status the whole time. When he gets into his low status and kind of saves his daughter from having embarrassment alone, that's when he has challenged himself and he has won, because he's lost his status, but he's become the father he's supposed to be for the family. And the whole family comes together when dad kind of realizes that, wait a second, I need to save my daughter.
That's beautiful. And just real quick, which character has the least arc in Little Miss Sunshine?
Toni Collette's character, the wife, really has it. She feels like a placeholder, and I don't know if in early rewrites if she had an arc, because a lot of these characters have arcs. There's DuShane, who has that's a great ensemble photo. The father has an arc. I mean, he's a junkie and then he dies.
Sure.
And I don't, and Little Miss, and the young girl who plays Little Miss going to the beauty contest, she doesn't have much of an arc either. She's kind of like a placeholder. So there's a lot of fun happening, I think, between DuShane and the brother through a lot of the film. And they may be hitting the philosophical points of what the writer was intending to kind of give the moral of the story throughout. I'm just coming off of memory. I haven't watched it in about a year because that's my first quarter students. We have to watch it over and over and over again, and it's so worth it.
Yeah, I want to go back to it. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Thank you. I want to see it. What are storytelling cheats, and which are some that are fun to use?
Storytelling cheats. I'm glad you asked because I have some notes about
Oh, great.
storytelling
Okay.
cheats. If you want to, like, feeling sympathy for a character, some ways to get right to feeling sympathetic. Blake Snyder wrote the book Save the Cat. So that's a way to get sympathy immediately. Save a cat. Here's another example. Let's say a mom's just trying to clean the house before her in-laws arrive. Have her step on a Lego. Have her step on like a tack or a nail. When we do something with the palm of the hand, when we cut the palm of the hand or the bottom of the foot, as we're watching it, we've all experienced that pain, especially on the foot. The bottom of the foot hurts so bad.
Right.
And it immediately gives us an emotional response where we're like, we've been there, we've done that. So that's an element to add to a scene. If we look at Minority Report, in Minority Report, everyone is scanned by their eyeballs. And so when Tom Cruise is on the run and he's wanted for the future murder, he has to get rid of his eyeballs. Just that idea alone brings massive conflict. And so think about what you can do with the eyeballs. Can you touch the eye? Can you poke the eye? Through that whole operation scene of Minority Report with Tom Cruise, we're like losing our minds.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And then if we go back to Little Miss Sunshine, there's a lovely thing that the writer does, which is he gives DuShane the vow of silence. DuShane didn't have to have that vow. I don't know what draft of the script where the writer went, you know what? Because the writer of the script in early drafts could have just had DuShane upset and mad at his parents, and it would have been fine. But he has a vow of silence, and it escalates his tragedy. So when he finds out he's colorblind and he can't become a pilot, I think he wants to be a pilot, and you can't be a pilot when you're colorblind. When that plot point happens, that's the first time he speaks. And when he speaks after he hasn't been speaking throughout the whole film, we pay immediate attention. So it's symbolic on so many levels. And the other thing about Little Miss Sunshine is the VW van situation. Just make the VW van only start in second gear. What a fantastic story device, because it makes the family push the van, and they all have to jump in the van. So there's danger involved. There's the family just being disgusted they have to do this, and it's a device that brings us to the very end of the film. It's a device because they hate working together when this happens. It's drudgery through the film. When they've come together in the last scene, as they push the van through the parking lot, they're pushing the van as a family. All of a sudden, we see them as they've all kind of been reborn into becoming a family. And so watching them push the van is a whole new experience for us and them.